Alright guys, today I want to talk to you a little bit about strict versus kipping. First I'm going to say there's no right or wrong. It's more time and place. So when to use what. They're both very beneficial to CrossFit. So strict we use to develop strength, not just strength for transfer movement of kipping pull-up, but it transfers into other movements that we do in CrossFit. As far as kipping, we use that for intensity, we use that for high volume work, and we use that for efficiency. And speed as well. So again, time and a place. One thing here at our gym, and I recommend for most gyms, is that being able to have a good foundation of strict pull-ups before moving into a dynamic movement. So you're going from a static movement with the strict to a dynamic movement with the kipping, adding the swing, and the more strength that you have and control that you've developed with the strict pull-up, the easier that movement and the safer that movement's going to be. So again, depending on the workout or the type of work you're doing, you may use strict in the workout, or if it's a workout that has maybe 100 pull-ups, you're probably not going to want to approach it necessarily with strict. You might if that's the goal of the workout, but if the goal of the workout is for time or competition, obviously you're going to want to go with kipping, you're going to go with speed and efficiency. But being able to have both movements in your back pocket to pull out whenever you need, and also being good at both. So with that being said, I want to talk a little bit about progressions for strict. So for those of you that are still working on strict pull-ups, there's three movements that I particularly like to help develop the strength for strict pull-ups. So the first one is going to be a standard ring row. This is great because it can be modified fairly easily. The biggest thing with all three movements that you want to focus on is form and technique. So quality of movement is going to be what's going to transfer into the strict pull-ups. So make sure that you're always practicing with perfect form and technique. So on the ring row, when you get set up, hardest would be set up directly underneath the pull-up bar. The further out you walk, the easier it's going to be. Alright, so on the setup, you want feet just right under the hips. Okay, you can also go feet together. From here, you want to set the shoulder blades. You want to get into an active shoulder, squeeze the shoulder blades. Inactive would be rounding of the shoulder blades. So you're going to squeeze, set the shoulder blades, squeeze the butt, squeeze the quads. Everything is tight, working together. And then from here, one unit. My shoulders, hips move together, and they lower together. When I extend or get to extension, it's only as far as my elbows extend. I'm not dropping and getting into that inactive shoulder. So I'm always in an active shoulder throughout the entire movement. And notice that my chest and my hips move at the exact same time. Okay? So that is the ring row. Second movement that I like is the incline row. On the incline row, first thing is if you're setting it with racks like this, the biggest thing you want to make sure is that you are always pulling into the rack, and then you're not setting yourself up for failure by pulling away from the rack. So pulling the barbell into the rack, getting it set, finding your position. It's the exact same as a ring row, but now it's kind of putting you into a bar position. So here, again, same thing, chest and hips rise at the same time, make contact with the bar, chest and hips lower at the same time. So one way that you can advance this movement, the higher that it's set, the easier it's going to be, just like rings. The lower it's set, the harder it's going to be. Okay, so you can manage. This one is probably my most preferred when scaling for pull-ups in workouts. Last, we're going jumping to negative. So this one is all about control. So a little bit harder than those two. You have to now be able to control your body weight without dropping into the shoulders. So you're going to jump. Easiest way to do this is probably set two boxes side by side. You can, I've had some people just based on space, if they needed to, use one foot to jump off. This is a little bit easier. I don't like the box directly under the foot, because then when you come down to negative, it's going to stop you from hitting that full extension, which is going to be the most important part. So we'll say that last 90 degrees, from 90 degree down is probably going to be the hardest, where people are going to want to stop and drop versus control. Your goal should be to try to control that movement. So if you don't have a pretty good set of ring rows or incline pull-ups, then incline rows, then you may want to hold off on the negatives for a little bit. So from here, it's a jumping pull-up, chin above the bar, okay? Nice hollow body position, toes are slightly forward, driving my elbows in, and I'm lowering as slow as I can all the way down to full extension. Notice that when I did this, it's not lower, 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 drop. Okay, that defeats the purpose of the movement and developing that body control and strength. So again, make sure that you have the strength. If you have to get a spotter, you can have a spotter come and help you for that last part of that. So Katie, I'm gonna grab you real quick. So if I'm pretty close, I can have a spotter. She can help me. So as I'm coming down, keeping me from, so if she starts to feel that momentum, she can help stop me, and I can finish the movement nice and controlled. So those are 3 of the best movements. You can add these into daily routines. This is something that should be done, I would say, every day. So if you're working on strength for pull-ups, it can't be something that you hit once a week, once every 2 weeks. It has to be a pretty consistent training. So find a way to kind of get a little routine or a workout set up, grab a buddy, do this, work on this consistently, and I promise you it will pay off. So you can set up every minute on the minute. For volume work, you can also work tempo, which is great. Again, for body control. So working a tempo, time under tension. You can do this with any of those movements where maybe you do a count of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then lower, 1, 2, 3. So working any type of movement like that will also kind of change up your routine, but you're still getting the benefits of the strength work of the pulling motion. Oh yeah, guys, let me know what I should do my next video on. Post in the comments below. Thanks.